With Pixar on the ropes, can Disney Animation reclaim its rightful spot as the studio's premier shingle? You're watching Beyond the Trailer's review of Frozen.
Although the Force was hidden, one day she let it go.
Elsa!
Sorcery. And all the land was covered in eternal ice and snow.
It's completely frozen.
Please, just stay away! Elsa! I'll bring her back and I'll make this right.
So you're not scared?
She's my sister. She would never hurt me.
Yeah, I bet she's the nicest person ever.
Huh?
Am I right?
While Disney was once solely Walt's vision, today it looks more like a race car covered in brand stickers. Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm. In fact, with the exception of their sole Oscar contender this year, Saving Mr. Banks, there seems to be very little of Walt left at the studio. Perhaps most egregious is the fall from grace of Disney Animation. After single-handedly creating the genre in 1937 with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and then dominating it for decades, today only one of the top 10 grossing animated films of all time comes from the house that Walt built, The Lion King. And while Beauty and the Beast was the first animated film to be nominated for the Best Picture Oscar, they have not even been able to win a single Best Animated Feature Oscar. Now, the suits at Disney aren't too worried about this because they own Pixar, which has won the Best Animated Feature Oscar 7 times, and even had 2 of their own films, Up and Toy Story 3, nominated for Best Picture. Plus 5 of the top 10 grossing animated films of all time are from Pixar. Perhaps making John Lasseter the head of all Disney Animation wasn't the best idea. Is he playing favorites? But fascinatingly, as Pixar takes a year off to regroup after releasing several films that seemed a little too much like cash grabs, Disney Animation is enjoying its second renaissance. Tangled and Wreck-It Ralph were both very solid performers, and so for Frozen, Disney Animation is effectively combining the two. Frozen is another CGI princess movie like Tangled, some would say a little too much like Tangled, while Wreck-It Ralph writer Jennifer Lee scripts here as well as co-directs. It's also worth noting that despite the genre's immense appeal to female moviegoers of all ages, Lee is the first woman to ever direct a Disney animated film. Brenda Chapman was kicked off of Pixar's Brave, while Kung Fu Panda 2's Jennifer Yu Nelson was actually the first woman to direct an animated film for any major studio. But while women try to gain a foothold in the genre they propel at the box office, the fate of animation itself is at a crossroads. Disney is heavily throwing its resources into live-action fairy tales, like next year's Maleficent, while DreamWorks Animation is in danger of oversaturating the market with the promise of 3 new films a year. Plus, there's new competition from the likes of Illumination Entertainment, Blue Sky Studios, and Leica. 10 animated films came out this year, and 12 are set to be released next year. As for Frozen, it seems to also mark a crossroads for Disney Animation. It's another princess musical, the studio's former specialty, but has the more modern look and attitude of Tangled, Wreck-It Ralph, and the competition. Interestingly, though, the hybrid animation style showcased in Disney Animation's Oscar-winning short Paperman, which truly melds the past and future of the medium, is being backburnered at the studio despite intense interest from fans. So one really has to wonder what kind of game Disney is playing here, short-term or long-term. It is so frustrating to watch Disney take 2 steps forward and 2 steps backward at the same time. On the plus side, Frozen has some beautiful and imaginative animation going on here, particularly the set design. Some scenes are as beautiful as the classical paintings in the Two Princesses art collection. And there's one just single shot actually at the beginning of the film that takes place in the ocean. I don't want to ruin it, but it was so breathtaking and fraught with emotion with no dialogue that I was just blown away. It is one of the most impressive things I've seen in live action or animation, and it's a real high point, not just for the film, that the film never can match again, by the way, and doesn't even come close to, but it's also a high point for Disney Animation. So I think that was a shining example of what this film could have been. Now, there were also some clever and bold plot twists at the end of the movie, but it just wasn't enough to save it. Because I think that overall, Frozen plays like the theme park stage show version of a much better movie. And I say theme park stage show because those productions kind of just rush through the plots, because you already know it when you go into the theme park and you sit down. You just really want to hear the songs and see the scenery. And I guess that's kind of how I think Frozen, tries to go about things. It has this little character and story development going on here. And Beauty and the Beast, which I think is really the pinnacle of Disney, with all due respect to The Lion King, I think Beauty and the Beast is the most sophisticated film they've put out to date. That film had more character and story development in its prologue with stained glass windows than all of Frozen. Now, at first I thought, well, maybe they just have too many characters, but Disney's done large casts before quite well. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe they're skewing really young here. Maybe they're trying to, for some reason, they've decided to appeal to really young viewers. And I thought, no, I've seen Sophia the First on the Disney Channel, and that's better than this as well. And also, speaking of other Disney properties, sometimes Frozen is so much like Tangled that it's really inexcusable. Now, I think a big problem here is that Disney is taking its top talent in animation and sending them over to live action. For instance, Maleficent, the writer of Beauty and the Beast, which I said I felt was the best they've done to date, went over to do Alice in Wonderland with Tim Burton, and now she's doing Maleficent, when I think she really would have been used better here. And speaking of writers, the reason I bring up Linda Wolverton, who's that writer, is because Jennifer Lee is the writer here, and I think she is the most to blame for this film. Which is a shame, because not only is she a female writer and also the first woman to direct or co-direct a Disney animated film, but she did such a wonderful job on Wreck-It Ralph. That's why she got this gig. I thought Wreck-It Ralph was a great film, great male and female characters, but here she just really dropped the ball. It's just horrible. And also, a lot of publicity has been made about these are two strong female characters for Disney, two princesses, they're sisters. And I have to say they were two of the worst female characters I've actually ever seen. Really, I think that, as I say, step backwards, this is a huge step backward for, I think, some impressive steps that Disney had made. Forget Belle, forget Pocahontas. This is worse than even Ariel, which a lot of people criticized when she came out for not having any goals beyond, meeting a guy. And I'll go into this more in my spoiler review, because I'm making a spoiler review because overall Frozen has such positive reviews from other critics that I want to, go into a little more depth why I was so disappointed. But just really for just touching on it, for instance, the country that these two princesses are supposed to rule just seems to go no further than their little village that they're in. And so that just made for horrible world building, which, as you know, is a big pet peeve of mine. And also the whole story seemed to take place mostly in 24 hours, which I also thought was sloppy. So I have major problems with the story. Frozen is beautiful to look at. The animation talent is clearly here at the studio, but their storytelling talent is severely lacking, and at the best uneven, at the worst, as I said, lacking. So with Katniss on the big screen and Cora on the small screen, two much better female heroes and much better stories, don't waste your time with Anna and Elsa. Seriously, I think this is a direct-to-video movie. That's the kind of effort that was made here, so you should just wait till you can see it at home. And I can't believe I'm saying this about a Disney animated film, but I don't know if I could sit through this again. And I have to touch on it, the music. The music is such an afterthought to me, I almost forgot it. But I feel that there are a few songs here, they feel very forced. When characters break into song, it's jarring. As is the modern aspects of the songs. The musical style is all over the place. They have a few classical elements, but mostly, for the most part, it's modern. And it isn't even a bold modern choice like Meg's song in Hercules, which had like a doo-wop feel. I thought that was a strong, definitive choice. This is just all over the place. And as I said, it's jarring in its modernness, and a lot of the dialogue is also jarring because it's modern. So that's my review of Frozen. I'm really disappointed. I was so looking forward to it. Even though Tangled isn't a fantastic film, I still was on board, but Disney Animation's really lost me here. And I'm curious to know what you guys think. Do you agree with most critics this is a good movie? And if so, what am I not getting? Write your thoughts down below, and you can check out more episodes right now, including the spoiler review. Thanks for watching. Bye.